everyone, and welcome to Enlightened Communic Talk Show. The purpose of our talk show is to create mental health awareness and build professional skills. With that objective in mind, today we have with us Mr. Sri Ram Kumar, who is a coach, facilitator, and a TEDx speaker. He is also an avid writer and has been trending on LinkedIn with his hashtag Sri Rambling. Mr. Sri Ram Kumar is somebody who has been conducting professional programs and comes from a very diverse background. He's also the director of TLR Now. Welcome, Sri Ram, on the show.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure talking to you. And I'm so happy that we are able to do this show together, despite it being a Saturday afternoon. I'm so happy to be here.
Welcome, Sri Ram. And I'm happy that you took our invitation to be a part and share your professional experience with our audience. So Sri Ram, today's topic, as you know, is on authentic online presence. The world today has changed to a great extent, and the digital presence is as important as our offline networking. So Sri Ram, my first question to you is, what according to you is authentic online branding or authentic online presence?
You're right, Umme. I mean, the world has changed way beyond what we have imagined it to be. So against that background, for me, what online presence, authentic online presence is very simple. It's a culmination or collation of all the activities that we do, so that our credibility and our visibility online is something that reflects who we are. So that for me is the simplest definition of what credible or authentic online branding is.
Right, Sri Ram. So you spoke about credibility, very important when we talk about authentic online branding. So what kind of branding, according to you, comes across as fake?
So again, there are different points of view here. If one reads up, there is this academic view, and then there's this view that people share. But for me, what comes as fake online branding that one can do for oneself is two or three things. One is try to build your presence through what I call online steroids. That is, just focusing on how many people follow you or how many likes you get, etc. So you use a combination of people, resources, technology, bots, and whatnot to make sure just your online presence is there merely in numbers. That's the first thing. The second thing is how authentic you are in terms of what you share as content. Is it something that is connected with what you do? What is your basic purpose of being online? Is it in sync with your overall objective as a professional or as an individual or as an entrepreneur, etc.? If that is not in sync, that also for me is fake. I would consider it as something that is fake. And another thing that I feel is fake is not being there consistently.
Okay.
Because an online, I keep telling these folks whom I talk to when I do my sessions on LinkedIn presence, etc. Your presence online should be like a fire extinguisher. It should always be ready. God forbid we need to use a fire extinguisher.
Yes.
But should always be ready, right? So lack of a consistent presence is also for me, and just coming there for some occasion, doing something, for me is also fake online branding. Just to give you an example, I get a new job, I come up and put up a post on social media, some 100, 200 people like it, 300 people comment on it, and then I again run away and I'm not there. And then 2 years later, again, I'm looking for a job. I again come and say I'm looking for a job.
Yes.
That for me is fake. That really doesn't matter. So I think these three things for me are the key attributes of trying to build a fake presence.
Right. So as you just mentioned, credibility, consistency, very important aspect of your online presence. And one cannot just show up at one occasion, because it's like a constant communication or a relationship that you are having with the audience. Just like how we have a day-to-day relationship with others, you don't show up with people whom you love, or people whom you care, or people whom you want to make a difference in their lives just once or twice, but you were constantly in touch with those people. Similarly, at an online platform, you need to show not just your consistency, but as you mentioned, also your credibility. So a lot of people use one's online presence to influence a particular thought, okay, and to create a social influence in their own field. How do you think, if somebody wants to bring about a change in a thought process in their own field, or want to be a social influencer in their field, what are the steps they can take?
So, okay. So just one caveat, this may sound slightly controversial, but the fact is I really do not know how many people, aspirationally, we all want to be influencers, influence people, change everything, etc. But how far can we do that is something that is debatable. But looking at the overall context of trying to make a difference, okay, influence is a rather strong word. I would say what we can try to do is make a genuine attempt to make a difference. Yes. And I think 2-3 things can be done for that, okay. And again, it goes back to what I was talking of previously in terms of building a presence. Now, what one could look at doing is be there, be present, be active in relation to something that we genuinely believe in. Right? That's the first thing.
Yes.
Second thing I think that is needed is the ability to share some perspective, some thought process, some paradigm with respect to what we believe in. To make it simple, share content out there, put up genuine, put up one's own thought process out there in the form of content. Okay. And the third thing that one can do is, as one reaches out to more and more people, as one builds content, one builds relationships.
Yes.
And we see how we can endeavor to probably help people as part of these relationships. I think this is like a cycle. I wouldn't want to use the word vicious cycle, but it is a cycle.
Yes.
And this needs to be happening constantly. If one can do that, then I think the ability to genuinely make a change significantly goes up.
True. And as you said, it's like a cycle, and it needs to continuously move. And if that cycle breaks, of course, if the circle breaks, the consistency breaks, and your relationship also, it's like out of sight, out of mind, right? So it has to be consistently nurtured over a period of time. How do you think individuals or company use branding online, or one can use, like you, for example, you as an individual, I know that you've been writing on LinkedIn very consistently and have been posting almost every week, and you have a specific trend that you've been posting on, or things that you've been posting on, or the change, or you want to create insights among people, or your life experiences, or maybe the stories that you post on. So what is your thought process, and how can individuals and company also use such thought process to bring about a change in people?
So let's take it in two parts. So maybe we spoke about individuals and we spoke about organizations. So let's look at individuals first. Essentially, any social media platform provides you a medium through which you can share your experience and perspectives, right? And right from the time we wake up in the morning and look into the mirror, till the time we sleep at night,
Hmm.
our life is full of experiences,
That's true.
right? So there is no dearth of experiences anybody has.
Hmm.
A youngster who has stepped into office for the first day,
Hmm.
a youngster who is giving an interview or even sitting in an interview room,
Hmm.
even before the interview starts, he or she goes through so many experiences.
Hmm.
Somebody who has spent 15 years in work
Hmm.
and who has got a promotion has tremendous experiences. Somebody who has spent 15 years and unfortunately has not got a promotion, they
Hmm.
also have
Having
experiences.
experience.
All of us have experiences.
Hmm.
So I think we need to, dispel this myth or remove this from our mind. I am not experienced, I don't have experience.
Hmm.
So the first thing that we can do is to share experiences.
Hmm.
That is what we can do as individuals, share experiences
Hmm.
with a genuine intent of putting forth what we feel.
Hmm.
Now, whether people will agree with it, they will disagree with it, will they agree with it every time? Probably not. But here we are just to share our perspective.
Hmm.
So that is something I think individuals can do
Hmm.
to build their presence.
Yes.
And of course, if you are able to build that presence through your professional expertise, through something that you have experienced through your work or your business, or probably through your any credentials that you have sought. For example, I see a lot of project management professionals,
Hmm.
those who are certified PMPs,
Hmm.
write about project management.
Yes.
They come across as authentic and genuine when they do that because they have the credentials to do
Of
that.
course. Hmm.
I don't write about blockchain and artificial intelligence because I just like the intelligence to write about it.
Hmm. Hmm.
And truth be told, this is not something that catches my fancy.
Hmm.
So I don't do that. So what relates to you, what are you interested in, can become a very good medium for you to write about.
Okay.
And that can really help you build your presence,
Hmm.
right? So that's as far as individuals go. As far as organizations go, I think there is still a lot of work organizations need to do to effectively use social media to build their brands. Today, everybody has a website.
Hmm.
Everybody has a company page on almost all social media. But how many of them actually engage?
Hmm.
How many of them actively engage
Hmm.
is something that each organization needs to introspect. Because if they actually do that, it pays off in so many ways.
Hmm.
It helps you attract the right kind of talent.
Hmm.
It helps you build your own employees
Hmm.
brand. It
Hmm.
helps you build your own, it helps you retain talent.
Hmm.
It can help in employee engagement.
Yes.
It can help you get so many ideas that you can use for your business. It
Yes.
can help you build a relationship with your vendors, suppliers, etc.
True. True.
And it can help also build relationships with others in the market, not necessarily vendors and suppliers, but other kind of networks and strategic relationships. Those I think organizations still need to explore because most often than not, the company pages look like advertisement boards where it is more about we are this, we are this, we are this, we are that, etc. Uh, Organizations need to still look beyond that
Hmm.
because what people are looking for, and very few people read all those actually, and there is enough research out that shows people don't read these kind of stuff. So there is tremendous opportunity for both organizations and individuals to exploit uh, their presence more meaningfully on social media. That's what I feel.
True. So, Sriram, as you said, it is more about, it's different for an individual and an organization. For an individual, it is about their own sharing their own experiences, and everybody comes with an experience. So there can be no one who can say, I don't have any experience, I've never had any setback, or I've never had any problems or fears. Whatever you have, it could be a fear or it could even be an achievement. There is always something to share, and everyone comes with one's own expertise which one can use to create a personal brand for themselves. Also, as you mentioned about organization, and very well described for organization why this branding is very important, especially online branding, because it attracts not just the customers but also their own employees, as you mentioned. And thus online branding is a lot more, I think, is value based for an organization. What is it that you are giving people, and how is it that you're contributing to individuals or people in general? That is value based. So in terms of value based, do you have any thoughts to share as to how people can, or how organizations can create that value for themselves?
See, I think value needs, principally, I believe value needs to be created for others.
Mm-hmm.
If you come with a perspective that I will create value for others, the byproduct of that should be some value that you can create for yourself. So I would rather say we need to have an outside-in approach.
Mm-hmm.
That how can you create value for others? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the ways in which organization can use online platforms, and quite a few of them do it. It's not that most organizations don't do it, but there is still scope on what they can do. And it is also, and here one more thing I want to add is I work with a lot of business owners who are small business owners or medium-sized organization owners, business owners. And I also actively ask them to start getting into this bandwagon. This is not for just your Fortune 100, Fortune 500, 1 trillion, 2 billion, whatever those numbers that people, it's not just for those companies. It is for all organizations. So what is it that organizations can do to add value is at least 3 things that they can do in my perspective. The first is, again, when we need to see it in the paradigm of what is it that they can give, what is the value that they can give. First is, again, share their experiences, okay, with respect to their domain, with respect to their industry, so that becomes useful for people. That becomes a sort of insight for people. So I think that experience sharing is something that organizations need to do. Second thing that organizations can do is not just sharing their experiences, okay, but also try to see how they can create an ecosystem where they are able to collaborate with others, so that these good practices that they have or that they notice in others are sort of institutionalized. They're able to bring about a platform where they can be institutionalized across the industry. Third thing that organizations can do is to see how they can use their presence to make their ecosystem better. For example, how can they, just to give you a simple example, for example, let's say there is an organization which is doing very well with their online presence. How many of them actually sit with their vendors and help them build their organization presence online? Because if it has worked for me as an organization, why can't I sit with my vendors, with my suppliers, partners, who may not be that adept, who may not be that aware, and see how I can help them. So one is sharing experience, second is sharing expertise, third is supporting the ecosystem. So principally, when you give the value that you have, it in turn brings some value to it. So that's my perspective on this.
So that is about individual and organization, and you shared quite a lot regarding that. So tell us how one, this is also related to a little bit on thought leadership, but how can one be an authentic thought leader in that way? Like say, for example, somebody who, now this I'm talking in terms of an individual who is just started off, like you've been writing for a very long time. So as you said, consistency plays a role. Over a period of time you've developed, and you have a lot of followers who've been following your writings and your thought process with consistency, and of course good content, which is very important. How, if somebody's starting new, how an individual can create that social influence and be authentic? One, of course, as you've already shared, is consistency and sharing your experience. Anything other than that that individuals can do to get started off and be experts in their fields?
So
Sorry. Yeah.
So I think one may have to go back to the basics, Ume, here. Again, considering all the gray and black hair, very little of black now. I think we need to look at it in a very old-fashioned way.
Yes.
Okay. If one needs to begin this journey, yes, there is consistency, discipline, etc., etc. All those are important. All those softer elements are very, very important.
Yes.
But another paradigm which is very, very crucial is what was taught to us in school or what we were expected to learn in school.
Okay.
The 3 R's.
Yes.
Reading, writing, and arithmetic. Okay. So if you want to build your expertise, if you want to build your presence online, if you want to be seen as what is generally called a thought leader, etc., the first thing one needs to focus is on reading. That is very, very important. So when you read, you gain a lot of knowledge, you get perspectives, you get ideas, you get thoughts, you're able to correlate it what you have experienced. And that helps you write.
Right.
So that is where the writing comes. The third element that is important here is, as much as we read and write, etc., and we share with a perspective, social media also provides us an opportunity to see how exactly is our content being received. In the form of likes, in the form of shares, in the form of comments, etc., etc.
Yes.
So we should, while we need not be completely consumed by how many people like what we write, how many people share, how many people comment, etc. And as I said, use steroids to push those numbers up. We also need to keep in mind the arithmetic. If I keep writing every day and nobody reads it and there is no appreciation for that, then obviously something is wrong somewhere.
Yes.
I'm not able to connect with my audience. So either the content I am putting out is not making sense, or the way I am writing it can be made better.
Yes.
So we should not lose track of the numbers also, right? So this reading, writing, and arithmetic, and that's something I feel over a period of time, I think these are very, very basic, but these need to be there. So this, I think, are the foundation. On the top of it, in terms of what you need as effort, is yes, discipline. If you need to post, and here again the jury is out there in terms of what should be the consistency of posting. Should you do daily? Should you do twice a week, thrice a week? You read different different people say, there will be different perspectives. Some people say you do twice a week, some people say daily. Daily works for me, so I do it daily. So that discipline needs to be there. And then yes, we need to have the attention to detail. Okay. Make sure what we write is simple things, like making sure what we write is grammatically correct. it is not, it doesn't, it is not overtly insensitive to people's feelings. So that attention to detail has to be there. Third thing we need is resilience. Sometimes you come up with this brilliant idea and you spend 2.5 hours writing it, and probably another 2 hours editing it, and you post it. Nobody is going, no, it's possible nobody may see it. And you are like somewhere in the back of your mind, you're thinking, oh, this will get some 300 views, 400 views, 40 comments, etc. You post it, and then every 2 minutes you are swiping. Who's seen it? Who's seen it? Who's seen it? Nothing would happen. Fact of life. It has happened to me also. I thought I wrote something extraordinary and nobody saw it.
Yeah, and especially when people are new to the medium. Yes.
So it is even more worrying. It can give you sleepless nights. So that resilience is important. And the fourth thing is the tenacity. You need to keep going on and on and on. You can't build a brand in just, and then strangely enough, you can't put a time limit also to it. Will I become a brand after 323 days or 287 days? Honestly, there is no time. Brand is something that one needs to invest in on an ongoing basis. I mean, take Pepsi and Coke. Even today, they have a marketing budget where they spend on their brand, and they have been around for decades.
Yes.
And virtually everybody knows them. Right? But they still need to invest. So that tenacity is important. So I always talk of this DART, the DART that people need to build their online presence: the discipline, the attention to detail, the resilience, and the tenacity. So I think if these are there, then the journey will be far more enjoyable and it will be far more pragmatic.
Yes. So of course, keep it simple, as you said, be consistent, and have the tenacity and resilience to keep on going on. But along with that, Sri Ram, you even mentioned, maybe the way you spoke about it, the most important quality is also being adaptable to the audience. Like you said, you keep on posting, and there is a variety of posts, right? Sometimes they are posts, sometimes they are writing, sometimes they are in video format, whatever is the format that you are using. But at the same time, you also need to look at what is engaging the audience, or what is getting the audience, making them read a particular post or like, and then what is the trend. But then there is also this question: should you always write what the audience wants to read, or do you write for yourself, or do you write about your subject matter?
So here I would again take an outside in view. Principally, I think one needs to write from a perspective of what one wants to share, one wants to express, and one wants to share. I think that is the primary focus that one needs to have. That said, it is also a fact that you are writing for audiences. So that brings in the paradigm of how do I make sure it is engaging for my audience? Right. So that is my view, that it needs to be something that you genuinely are interested in, something that you genuinely also know something about.
Of course.
Okay. Yeah. So that makes it much more easier to write. That makes it much more easier to share. That makes it much more easier to come up with ideas. And that ideas you can express in so many forms. As you said, there is video form. Like, for example, I myself have tried various formats. Okay. So I'm more comfortable with posts, and I try to use the whole 1300 word limit of LinkedIn for a post. There are some where I've experimented with LinkedIn articles, which allow me to write longer stuff. And I also use pictures extensively. I use memes very extensively. So depending on the kind of message you want to convey, one needs to experiment with different mediums to see what connects with the audience. Because finally it's out there building your credibility and visibility. So that variety of mediums is something that one can always explore.
Sri Ram, do you think this kind of leadership, or I'm just terming it as leadership, but it's also a kind of a leadership because now since everything is happening digitally, is this type of leadership or this type of branding or making one's individual presence online, do you think it is sustainable over a period of time? Do you think it is sustainable, and how many people can actually sustain it?
So I would put it this way. First is, it is something that is needed. We can keep arguing, is it right, is it wrong, is it appropriate, etc. till probably, tomorrow morning, the wee hours of the morning. But the fact is, it is needed today. So that is one part. The second part of it is, as far as how sustainable it is, I think it depends upon how one approaches it. If one is ready to accept that, yes, this is important, and also accept the fact that this is a marathon. This is not a T20 match. This is not a 50-over match. This is not a test match. This is something that one needs to do for a long time. If one approaches it with that perspective, then one will be ready to invest the time, effort, and all the other attributes that we spoke of to run this race. If it is just saying, okay, I want to be present, I will post something, and then you post something, and then you are like, tearing your hair. At least those who have can do it. I can't. Well, no likes, no shares, no comments, etc. If you do it that way, then it can't sustain even for 2-3 days. Leave aside sustaining for a week. One will get frustrated in 2-3 days, and then you will run into, okay, what do I write about? Everybody is saying the same thing. I don't have experience, or I don't have time, or I have too much of experience. I don't think I need to share anything. Or there are some people who are like, why should I share? If I share something, others will also know. Those are my secrets, etc., etc. So those sort of paradigms come into play, which forces one to stop the whole exercise. So this is a long race. If we are clear with that, then the sustainability will come on its own. That's my point of view.
So Sri Ram, as you said, it is very much needed. So whether you can have several rationalizations regarding and related to it, saying that maybe it is not required, or why does I am anyways good enough, or why should I share my thought process? But it could be the need of the hour for some. So tell us, as you said, it is needed, some benefits of being I would not use the term thought leader, but say sharing thoughts related to your field on an online platform, and which platform?
So I'll take the second one first. Okay, which platform? There are so many platforms out there. Okay, and each of the platform is designed with a specific purpose. So depending on what you want to share, the medium that you want to use to share it, one can choose the platform that one wants to share it. Again, there is a lot of research out there which says one should be in all social media platforms. Okay, and some people say that you need not be everywhere. Pick up 1 or 2 platforms and be consistent over there. I'm of that view. Okay. Like for example, I very extensively use only LinkedIn. That works well for me. So there are some people who are active on Facebook and they are not active. To each his own. So at least my view is one need not be everywhere. So you may choose what your niche is and focus on that. Now let's come to the first part of what you asked. What are the benefits that one could probably get? So the benefits are varied and vast, if you ask. The first thing is you are building an identity for yourself, which is so very, very important. As long as we are working, okay, what gives us gravitas as individuals is our visiting card. And the visiting card has two important paradigms. First is the name and logo of the organization we work for, and second is the designation we carry. Remove those two, and it is only your name. And who knows you? Nobody knows. So first is it gives you a very focused and very strong way in which you can build an identity for yourself. Second is it also gives you an identity. Not only does it give you an identity, it also gives you an opportunity to reinforce stuff that you know. Be it your professional expertise, be it your experiences, be it your skills. It gives you an opportunity to reinforce that through what you share. Right. The third benefit that it can give you is it can help you build strong networks, which is so very important. Because I have been able to build some amazing relationships and professional associations purely because of my LinkedIn presence. I didn't know them, they didn't know me. I liked what they wrote, I commented on their posts, I reached messaged them, and then we started talking, and we've been in touch ever since. We've been able to work together, etc. So it helps you build a network. Fourth is somewhere it makes you also responsible, because if you start writing, people read, etc., there is pressure on you to continue to do better. So to that extent, it keeps you on your toes. It makes you responsible. You want to do something good so that you can share it with people. So that's the fifth benefit. Sixth benefit, I think, which outweighs all these five, is it gives you an opportunity to share. It gives you an opportunity to give forth to people what you have experienced. And I'm going back to the same thing what I said about 15, 20 minutes. We all have experiences. And we have got so much through our experiences. It is only but natural. And somewhere I believe it is also our duty to share it with people. Who takes what from it, we don't know. We should be in that frame of mind where we give back.
So knowledge is not to be kept, but to be shared. Yes.
Yeah. There is no point in hoarding. There is no secret.
Yes.
I mean, just imagine if Sachin Tendulkar felt that I stand in front of a stadium and I start batting, everybody will learn batting and I will not be able to play. He would have never played cricket.
Yes.
Right? So it's good to share. And I think that is the biggest advantage these platforms give. So those, in my view, are some of the benefits that having a credible online presence can give us. That probably helps, also helps one being seen as a leader, thought leader, influencer, all those kind of jargons that are used. So, but yes, I think these are some of the benefits that one can genuinely get. And then, of course, there are the allied benefits. Because of your network, one gets benefit, you get business opportunities, you get opportunities to speak, you get opportunities to come in interviews like this, you get opportunities to be part of podcasts, you get opportunities to be part of interview discussion panels, etc., etc. So those are all something that come on.
Thank you so much, Sri Ram. I think you shared a lot of insights and benefits regarding authentic online presence and how you can be an influencer in your own field. Several benefits that you mentioned and very insightful, because a lot of people may not think about it, but it helps you to create an identity for yourself. It gives you opportunities. It helps you to network. It helps you to build relationship with people whom you did not know or do not know and could be in a similar field. It helps you to get connected. And most important, I think it makes you more responsible and makes you improve in your own work that you are doing. So having an responsible online presence and a credible one can be very, very impactful. So thank you for sharing these insights with us today. And thank you to our audience for watching us. And we hope to bring more such sessions to you. So do like, share, and subscribe on us on YouTube as well as Facebook and Instagram. And thank you very much once again.
Thank you, Umme, for calling me over. I think it was a very interesting discussion. A lot of wonderful questions. I do hope the audience finds it useful. And all the very best to each one of you as you recommence, or reinvigorate your journey of building your authentic online presence. All the very best to each one of you, and God bless you. Thank you.